Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to show you how to make the best French press. A French press is an immersion style of brewing where the water sits inside of the coffee grounds for about 4 to 5 minutes. And it's a really good way to brew a coffee. It's my favorite way to brew a coffee for multiple people. If you have friends over, family over, you can brew quite a bit of it, especially in a larger French press, pretty quickly. So let's get into the steps. One of the greatest things about a French press is you don't need a lot to get going. The most important thing is the brewing device. So this is a larger style of a French press. You can get these on Amazon. They're fairly cheap. This one's by Bellwares. What I like about this one is that it's metal and it's insulated on the inside, but you do have to pre-warm the inside of it. So if you just grab some hot water, swish it around inside of this, it gets it warm. So I like this for how big it is, but you do have to get it warm. The more traditional ones by Bodum, for example, are these glass ones. They also work very well. They heat instantly, you don't need to worry much, but it does cool down the water a little more quickly because it is just glass. So these work very well if you're gonna brew and then drink it right after, it's perfect. The next thing you're gonna need is a kettle. You don't necessarily need a fancy one like this. This one's a great one. It's by Fellow, and it heats up water very quickly, but that's not the most important thing. What you really need is just hot water, a way to heat up water. If you just have a bowl and you throw it on the stove, if you get it to boiling and then take it off for 1 minute afterwards, that's about the right temperature. Even better if you have a thermometer that you can stick in. If it's around 200 degrees to 205, that's pretty optimal for brewing on a French press. The next thing you'll need is a scale. This scale can weigh out grams and milliliters of water. So if you have a scale that has a timer on it, that's even better. If not, it's not needed. If you have a phone or another device that you can use as a timer, that's perfectly fine. Really just the most important thing is having a scale. Next thing you'll need is a grinder. No need for a fancy grinder, just one where you can change it from your regular medium to fine grind settings to coarse. For a French press, we need coarse style. Next we'll need is some filtered water. Water is very important when you're brewing coffee, so you want it to be filtered or purified. You also need some type of device that you can use to mix around the grounds right after you pour them in. Just something simple, even a spoon, but wooden is better. That way it doesn't scratch. And then the last thing, probably the most important thing, is some good coffee. So this is our new Ethiopian coffee. It's freshly roasted, was roasted less than 5 days ago, and it's perfect for a French press. So with that, that's all you need, and let's get started. So the way you can start is by pouring in your water into your kettle. I've already pre-weighed out my water, and the ratio I'm going to be using today is a 1 to 15 ratio. So that's going to be 15 grams of water for every 1 gram of coffee. Grams and milliliters are used interchangeably here because they use the same scale system. So I'm going to pour all of my water. This is going to be 750 mils of water. I'm going to pour it all inside of my kettle and get that one going. I'm going to heat up the water to 203 degrees, which is just in between 200 and 205, which is exactly the amount that I want to shoot for here. All right, and while that is heating up, we're actually going to weigh out our coffee beans. And with our coffee beans, we're going to weigh out 50 grams of coffee. So once again, this is a 1 to 15 ratio. Grab 50 grams of coffee, multiply that by 15, and then that's how much water you need to add in. So we're gonna do that now. All right, we have our 50 grams of coffee weighed out. We're gonna zero that out. We're gonna change our grinder setting to coarse. What I like to do is change it to just before the coarsest setting. So if you have a way to go from 1 to 40, for example, on this Baratza, I can go from 1 to 40. I usually just go to about 38, and that usually gives me coarse enough that I'm looking for. Pour our coffee beans in, and we're gonna grind. So you can see the grounds here. This is basically what we're looking for in terms of the size. Now we're gonna pour our grounds in. And just to ensure that I've weighed my water out correctly, I'm also gonna weigh it out as I pour. The spoon is gonna be used right after we pour. This is gonna make roughly 25 ounces of coffee, and that's how much water we're pouring in. And as we're pouring it in, we're gonna start. As we're pouring it in, we kind of wanna go in a circular motion. That way all of the grounds get saturated with water. And we're gonna keep pouring, and this will take some time. As I pour, I like to kind of get the outside of the French press a little bit wet, that way it stays warm. After that, you can just continually pour in the middle. Every so often, make circular motions. If you don't have a kettle like this, it's really not that important. If you just have a bowl, if you have a different style of kettle, it's fine. You can just pour it in quickly. Now we're going to 750 mils of water, and we are at 550. Perfect. And next we're gonna do is give it one big stir. Drip that all in. Put the lid on top, and then start the timer. We only want to push in a little bit and turn the lid away from the opening. That way all of the heat can stay inside. And we're gonna let this one sit for 4.5 minutes. At 4.5 minutes, we're gonna press down the top to the very bottom, but we're gonna press it down slowly. All right, we are just at about 4 minutes and 30 seconds, and we're getting ready to press down the top lever. During an immersion process style of brewing coffee, it's very important that the coffee sits inside of the water for at least a few minutes. So it's important that it at least goes 4 minutes, but no longer than 5 minutes, or else the coffee won't taste good. So we're gonna start turning the lid now and getting it close to the front. And then right at 4:30, we're going to start pressing down. And we'll press down hard, but not really quickly. And now your French press is ready to be poured. Ooh, this already smells really good. And this will make about 3 cups of 8 ounces of coffee. So you can enjoy 3 cups yourself or share with friends or family. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. Leave a comment down below, like it, and enjoy your new French press.